Tag und willkommen. Thanks for joining us on This Week I'm Learning, the podcast show where four friends tell random things where we've learned through light research to all of you fine people around the interwebs. This is episode 46, season 2, recorded May 17th, 2021. I'm your host, Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanis. Down below me, sitting somewhere much warmer, it appears, is Cody Stratman.
But not actually.
You son of a bitch.
Unbelievable.
You might still be warmer. It fucking snowed here today again.
Why? Huh?
It's rain and thunderstorms all week for me.
Been
But it
quite
just means I
lovely
didn't have to
here.
turn
Bring
on
the
my
rain.
sprinklers yet.
Bring the rain. I'm happy for rain. I'm fucking sick of the white shit. I'm over snow.
Oh. But snow loves you, Brandon.
It was so hot when
You
I
live
was
in
there.
the second
That's-
coldest place in the United States. Like,
Yeah, well.
at some point, you're gonna have to realize that that's your life. You work for a
now.
ski resort.
I know. But see, I want to work remotely for the ski resort so that I can come up and have fun in the summer, but then I can go away and be other places and continue to ride skateboards and motorcycles in the middle of winter.
Year round. Got it.
Yep. But anyway, Cody Stratman down below me, also known as Psycho Nitrous, down to his side over there, and somewhere much colder by the look of it, but not in reality.
Yeah, probably
Seeker
actually the hottest of all of us.
4761, yeah,
It
easily.
was almost 100 degrees in American Freedom Units today. So,
Oh, see, that's
It's-
too hot.
see,
It
it's
hits
finally,
triple digits, and
It's
I'm
finally
hotter.
warm enough where I don't have to wear a damn coat at night.
See,
So,
Cody's
I'm
gonna
happy
go
with
to a
that.
place where it's damn near triple digits and triple digit humidity.
The thing though
so
is
good for the skin.
it's not that. It's actually colder than Arizona a lot of times. Like it doesn't hit triple like all the time. Hits triple once in a while. And they've got air conditioning too. So it's actually colder than all of these places in the movie theaters there.
Carbon footprint, my friend. Carbon footprint.
They're ties to
But
It's not as bad as
It's
it
fine.
sounds.
Yeah.
Anyway, Seeker 4761, also known as Colton Roper, up above him and directly that direction to me is Charlie Stiffler, also known as Mjolnir, spelled wrong so he always gets it right.
Hey, thanks.
Yay.
Best tagline ever.
That is absolutely
It is
a wonderful
pretty
tagline.
Perfect, yeah.
I
Although,
absolutely stumbled
putting-
on that by accident.
Putting baby in the corner. I had to explain that to my child, and that made me sad.
Well, no, you don't
got
have to
almost
explain it to him. You just
Swayze.
have to make him watch the movie.
Yeah, well, I did.
Yeah, it's a good way to explain.
Yeah. The
Oh,
best
in the
way to
corner.
explain.
Actually, I've never seen
You
that
don't
movie.
understand that reference? Here we go. Let's watch this movie that is...
Time to get educated, son.
It's a classic. You gotta watch it at least once.
Educated. It's true.
I mean, I guess you don't have to. But anyway, today, Cody is gonna tell us we might know what happened to that one plane. Ooh.
of existence?
Did it appear on a episode of Star Trek Voyager out in the Delta Quadrant?
That
No,
would
wait,
be
that
a
was
weird.
Amelia Earhart.
Is
Yeah,
it in
that
the
would be a
fourth
weird turn
dimension,
of
like
events.
in Futurama with the space whale?
Oh yeah, this is where I talk.
This is where you talk, Cody.
Yeah, I'm not used to. I'm used to all of the monitors. Now I have. Yeah, this is a.
Oh, I'm
trial
outside
setup.
recording a podcast. My life is so hard. Oh no.
Hey, I've got a laptop. Might as well use it. And it's a glorious day here in Soldotna,
It's a
Alaska.
laptop, but it's not on your lap right now. I feel gypped.
It's close. It's on an end table that sit also on a Valve Index box, and then I've got a power cable out running out of my window in order to keep this thing powered because the battery will not. Well, actually, it might do that because I'm not gaming.
You know,
but-
we will
yeah.
take. I'm gonna ask Cody to take a picture of his setup, and we will put it right here so everyone can see it real quick.
Yeah.
Unaltered, because I need to see this fire hazard.
Oh, you're gonna love this, Charlie. Oh yeah, you're gonna love it. And meanwhile, Colton is going to tell us that the universe is even more strange than we know.
Do 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 do.
I'm not even surprised at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, yep.
It's all
Unimpressed.
just an illusion. Anyways, Charlie is going to tell us about being accidentally awesome, which is something I am deeply and intimately familiar with.
Yeah, it actually kind of rhymes with the compliment Brandon gave me with having the excellent tagline. Yeah, it was totally an accident. So.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And Brandon is going to tell us that Bender from Futurama. I need mouth to ass resuscitation, and you're an asshole for making me say that. Maybe closer to reality than you think.
Oh, I know
No.
this. I saw
Then you
this.
care to know.
I fucking saw. Oh my god. I actually know this story.
Yes.
This is the silliest
Yes.
thing I've ever seen.
I-
Hence, this-
Yes.
yeah.
I just no.
Oh, come on,
No.
Charlie. You can explain the medical side of this later.
No.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I'm looking
Join
forward
our
to this.
Cody, for
join
the love
TWIL's
of God,
OnlyFans
start
if
us,
you really
please.
want to know what we're talking
I don't
about.
think I want to. I think we're going great
Cody,
right
go,
now.
Please. Cody, go.
So, I've realized that I start most of my episodes with that word.
So,
Anyway,
So, this has been Cody's
What?
TED Talk. So,
what what flight went away back in 2014 that we don't really know what happened to?
Malaysia
Taiwan.
flight something.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That one.
yeah. Brandon wins
341
immediately.
something.
it
370.
was that long ago?
371.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was
Yeah,
that
it was.
long ago.
I was an organ transplant coordinator. That
Holy
was how long
Crap,
ago it
that's
was.
a long time ago.
Dang.
Time is illusion. Anyways,
So that flight took off from Kuala Lumpur, and it was heading to, I think it was heading to Beijing, and
Supposed to.
yeah, it was actually heading towards Beijing at a certain point, and then it decided to not head towards Beijing. So the last verbal communication was right before the handoff between air traffic control in Malaysia to air traffic control in Vietnam. Then everything kind of went dark from it. They caught it on radar a few times, and then they had some other data, and then like cell phones connecting and stuff. But it was all just weird little blips, and it heading the opposite direction that it was supposed to, and just a lot of oddities to it. And that spawned a ton of conspiracy theories. Some of them were kind of amusing, some of them were not amusing. One of them said that it was hijacked by Russia. Some of them said that they wanted to go to Russia. Some of them said that, they just, wanted to do basically the flights to nowhere that are happening now. All of those are false. So, the actual best answer for this, I'm not going to quite tell you yet. Let me give you a little bit more history to this.
you tease, Cody.
Ah.
We're
giving
edging
us
us a
blue
little
balls,
bit.
Cody.
You're edging us, is what you're doing right now.
No. That's straight up blue balls. Like, look at all of these wonderful things that it could be, and now you're gonna wait.
So it took them a long time to find anything from this flight. And it's because of where it decided to go. Its path was almost like it was trying to not be found, which kind of gives you a clue. So it went north towards Beijing, towards Vietnam from Kuala Lumpur, and then it decided to kind of take a U-turn. And it got caught back on radar around, and here's part of the controversy. How fitting if you can hear that in the background. Anyway, it's a much smaller plane though. I've got a small airport right next to me, but it's not really every person's airport. It's like a, you own your own aircraft airport. It's Alaska. It's common. Anyway, so where were we? So yeah,
They caught it on.
So yeah, they caught it on military radar, but there was huge controversy over this because technically this was well past the, not reporting in for handoff time, and technically should have been intercepted by the Malaysian military when it flew over Penang, I believe. Then it flew through this. Why am I forgetting the name of the strait? Charlie, please remind me what
Malacca.
that's. Yeah, Malacca. Yeah, so it flew kind of over the Strait of Malacca, and then so the pilot's cell phone connected at one point, and it showed it taking a drastic south turn around the east side or the west side of Indonesia.
So the Indian Ocean.
Correct. Yeah, so over the Indian Ocean. At first, this last data of the military radar and the cell phone, that wasn't available. So for a while, for like a year, everybody was searching in the wrong spot. People were searching in the South China Sea. So nobody could find it there because it definitely was not there. Then finally, there was this guy, and I'm doing him a great injustice by not remembering his name, but he's actually from California and then moved over to I think he ended up in Laos, and then he picked up this story and started actually searching. So he went to, there was actually a anniversary of this crash, or suspected crash, in Malaysia, and he actually went there and just was showing his support and grief, and wound up meeting somebody there and finally traveling. So he met actually an oceanographer in Australia and basically got the currents and asked, if debris were somewhere between like somewhere in the Indian Ocean, where would they most likely end up? And the answer to that was, man, this is
Madagascar.
yeah. So I think it was Madagascar, and so yeah. Sorry, I'm doing a bad job on this story, but most of my time before this podcast was actually setting up this weird contraption. So I'm remembering this from like 7 days ago when I actually researched this. So he found materials. It was 2 different places in Africa, and wound up having the most materials from the crash site. Meantime, the information about the Malaysian Air Force radar came out, as well as the phone connections that showed that turn. Well, what they're suspecting at this point, based off of... So at first, both the pilots seemed to, not really be problematic towards, saying that this might be a suicide. But as you look closer, it actually looks like the senior pilot might have been involved in this. If you look at so there were 2 pilots on board. The younger pilot basically he pretty much, in the flight world, he was kind of a savant at this, because you're not normally flying a 777 at 20 years or 24 years of age. So,
Yeah, no.
he was the junior pilot on the plane, had a family, 24 years of age, like pretty much had everything going with him, everything going for him. And you're making a decent amount of money when you're one of these long-haul pilots, like huge money. The other pilot was actually well-respected, senior officer, actually seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when you look deeper, there's potentially some mental instability issues that can be found. So he's got 2 different houses, and it was basically came out that his wife was actually staying at the other house from him. He was lonely. Then when they looked at the data from his flight simulator that he had at home, he was a big flight simulator fan. He had actually flown this route on the flight simulator before this happened. Now, again, there's no concrete evidence that says that he did this, which is one of the reasons why I'm leaving the names off. The other real reason is because I can't remember them. I remember the younger pilot was named Farik, was the last name. I don't remember the last name of the senior pilot. And what's kind of creepy about this is that during that turn in the flight, the altitude was pretty much the max altitude for the plane, and there were connection events that what he may have actually done was depressurize the cabin and then repressurized it, which basically means
would have knocked or killed everybody
it
out.
would have killed everybody in the back out. Now you would have enough oxygen on the oxygen supply on the cabin through the mass to actually get through all of that, and then basically fly straight south and dump in the ocean. They did have data on the actual crash that pretty much shows, because of the debris found, that shows the plane splintered into a bazillion pieces on impact. It's not a mostly
full
fuel
speed from max altitude.
Yep. So it's just a sad, no crash is not tragic, when everybody on the plane dies, but this is especially tragic since we don't know for sure. We don't, there's probably no recovering the black boxes on this.
Yeah, no.
And
the depth
it's
of
a lot
water
of,
there is significant.
Yeah, and it's a lot of speculation. But we might have just a little bit more information that adds to that.
Yeah.
Man.
So,
hopefully on a happier note, Colton!
Thanks for that awesome lead-in, Cody. I love following tragic news. It really perks us up.
Lowers the bar for happiness.
Well, I was going to say, if nothing else, I will end this well.
Oh, God.
So, I'm gonna channel my inner Cody a little bit and start with So, I believe we actually have talked about something similar to this before. We've talked about neutron stars, haven't we? At least kind of in brief mentioning. I think it was something about pulsars. Was it you, Charlie?
Yeah.
Can't remember. Or was it me? I don't know. Someone said
I think
something
it was you with pulsars.
I think it was you, and we were
talked
questioning.
About neutron stars before.
That's right. Wow. How many episodes we at? Too many. So we know that neutron
46.
stars are... Yeah, Jesus. So we know that neutron stars are some of the most strange and the most violent objects in the universe as of now that we know of, right after, of course, black holes. So when a star many times greater than the mass of our sun dies, around 10 to 25 times the mass, its core actually collapses, and the pressure created is so great that the protons and electrons in the atoms of the star actually combined and essentially become neutrons, hence the reason why they're called neutron stars, which I didn't really know about now that I thought about when I actually did this research. Like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. A typical neutron star is about 20 kilometers in diameter. So it's quite small, actually, but weighs 1 to 3 times the mass of the sun at that point. So a teaspoon of the stuff would actually weigh over 1 billion tons. It's...
Wait.
Yeah, just a teaspoon of that, and yeah, we would probably all be sucked to Charlie, right? Yeah, it's unbelievably massive.
So it's not that you're flying; it's that you suck the universe away.
Exactly. So there is so much gravitational pressure on a neutron star that the neutrons actually compress in the core. They actually compress to the point where there is literally no space in between these particular particles. Because normally there's a lot of space in an atom, whatever that means, but there's empty space in between the particles of an atom. Within a neutron star, the gravity's so big that everything's touching, and they generally don't like that. There's a reason why there's space in between atoms in general, because they want to have their own little areas, all these particles. And we know that when the universe gets to this extreme gravitational force, the rules of physics actually start to change a little bit, to the point where fundamental particles actually start to behave even weirder than they already do. Now, going back to something else, Charlie, you mentioned quarks before, right? I know you did for something. That one I know. There are essentially 6 known types: the charm, top, bottom, up, down quarks, and there's also something called a strange quark. Basically, because of there's all the gravitational pressure at the core of a neutron star, the particles themselves actually can go through a process called deconfinement, which is where the neutrons/protons actually melt down back into their fundamental particles. They become quarks, making sort of a soup that is actually called quark matter at this point. So when a neutron-proton dissolves, it doesn't actually have to turn into what they normally, which basically a neutron and a proton, they're made of up and down quarks. That's kind of the standard. But when they're actually turned back into their quarks, they don't have to turn into those up and down quarks. They can actually turn into any type of quark at all. It's kind of random at that point. And actually, it includes these really weird ones called those strange quarks that I mentioned. Strange quarks have particularly weird properties. They are significantly heavier than other quarks, and according to a video I watched, I think it was that Courage Stag. I can't say that. The awesome. I said it wrong.
One.
It's the
the
bird one.
Something.
Courage
Brandon,
Stag.
German, go.
German. You're German, Brandon. Have you heard of this? Of that YouTube channel, the one with
It's animated.
Courage Stag, in a nutshell.
It's a lot of
You've
G's
seen it.
Everyone and T's.
Really?
And
I haven't.
K. Yeah, like Kurstadt or something. Yeah.
Kurstadt.
I'm
in a
going to need a
nutshell.
link after this.
Yeah, they're
that
German.
sounds
Is the point.
interesting.
It's a brilliant channel.
They have like 20 million views a video type of big. So they're like one of the biggest
Mark
on
Rober
YouTube.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Damn.
fucking huge. So according to that, they're for lack of a better term, they're actually technically stronger than other types of quarks. So at extreme pressures of that core of the neutron star, the strange quarks in that quantum soup can actually create something called strange matter. Strange matter is perfectly dense and perfectly stable, and some physicists argue that is the ideal state of matter. Because it's perfectly stable, there's no perfectly dense, it's just the way matter wants to be, all things considered. And another particular ironically strange attribute of this particular stuff is that it actually could be infectious as well. See, so one of these strange quarks / matter actually touches regular matter, it has a high chance to actually become strange matter in itself. So that means a proton can become a strange proton. It's instant. There's no argument. The regular matter doesn't try to stop.
Zombie stars. Nice.
That's exactly what it is, essentially. Now, since this particular process only happens, as far as we know, at the core of an actual neutron star, it's not particularly a problem, except when 2 neutron stars collide. That's actually basically what happens is there's 2 neutron stars in a binary star system that eventually collide and become black holes. And the destruction is so violent that some of their inner material is thrown into space in what scientists call strangelets. Basically little pockets of, I know, it's terrifying, but also hilarious because scientists are terrible at naming, but also funny at naming. basically, these strangelets are little pockets of strange matter. And these strangelets can float around for billions and billions of years. They're almost imperceptible because they kind of change how physics works. It's weird stuff. Now, they float around harmlessly until they come in contact with matter. If one of these strangelets actually hits Earth, instantly more strange matter. And we're talking like Planck level time levels. Like it's instant. Snap, and it's there. We wouldn't even know it happened. If it hits our sun, exactly. If it hits our sun, a new strange star is born with the same exact gravitational mass within orders. Well, it's pretty much the same, but significantly less energy output because, as I said, it's the ideal state of matter. It's incredibly inert.
It doesn't emit radiation because it's stable.
Exactly. So basically, our star, nothing changes except for the fact that the star, lights are gone, no heat. We're dead.
So if Cody's light suddenly goes away, we know it happened.
It's all strange. And this obviously means the death of all complex life without the heat of our sun, so on and so forth. Some physicists actually think that there's significantly more strangelets out there than stars in the universe, and one theory is that it's actually that dark matter that we've talked about before, is in fact this strange matter because it doesn't, we can't really see it in any real way. We know it's there, but not really. It's dark matter. So there's a theory that it is in fact all that dark matter, dark energy stuff out there. They're thinking that it's literally this material from cores of neutron stars that is just there because it's significantly heavier. It has weird properties which follow the same thing as all the dark matter we've talked about before. So, particle physics is some really cool shit, and scientists are studying and understanding these fundamental principles all the time. I've already done different things with quantum physics in general this year. When we're studying this type of these particles, the fundamental particles of the universe, that just can lead to super cool technologies down below or farther in the future, crazy things that we can't even conceive of now because we're understanding the universe at a much more fundamental level, which means we can understand everything at a much better level, and it's pretty cool shit. It's cool stuff. I don't fully understand it, and it's really strange, literally in this case, but that's what I learned about this week, is some strange shit. So.
That's super strange and actually scary. It's like more things to be afraid of in the universe. But we can't do anything about it.
Right. Exactly. What I just realized is that I am solely responsible for all of the joy and happiness in this episode.
You are not.
Oh, I am, because... Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm running with it now. So screw
Make
you.
it happen. Make it
I don't
happen,
need
Charlie.
a transition.
Screw him. You're gonna be joyful.
So I'm gonna be happy. Damn it. Do you guys know of any accidentally awesome inventions? Like, what are some things that come to mind for you guys?
Velcro.
Velcro, absolutely. What else?
Well, I mean, isn't wireless? I mean, that's not really accidental, I guess. I guess that was on purpose back in the day with Tesla. I have a bunch in my head, but I can't actually say any right now because a lot of shit is accidental.
Why?
Gum.
Gum
Chewing
was
gum.
accidental? Yep.
Unless you're in Singapore, then that's not so awesome.
Oh, Post-it notes.
Post-it notes was another one.
The adhesive. Yep.
Play-Doh was actually designed to be a wall cleaner. Didn't work out so well.
Frisbees.
Frisbees.
Huh.
Super
Penicillin.
Oh, yeah. Penicillin.
Slinkies.
X-rays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Microwave ovens.
It seems like a lot of medical technology is probably accidental in that way.
Yeah.
So
like,
fuck.
We're gonna smear a little bit of this over here and see
Wait,
what this does.
that person
Oh,
actually
hey,
lived
that helps.
when 90% of the time they would have died. We may want to study that shit.
So I'm going to talk about a couple real quick, and then I'll actually get into the topic. So, like the microwave oven. In 1945, an employee of the Raytheon Corporation named Percy Spencer was experimenting with a magnetron vacuum tube when he noticed the candy bar in his pocket started to melt. That should make you pucker just a little bit, because you know what that's doing to the rest of Percy.
Little swimmers are
he
being
lived,
cooked.
He lived at least to 1947, where after Raytheon began selling the radar range, and it flopped commercially. A cheaper, smaller version came out in 1967 to much better reception, and over 95% of homes in the United States now have a microwave.
I thought this was going to be happy. Now you're just
this
talking
is
about a...
like accidentally awesome, like implantable pacemakers.
I don't know. I think this is a pro microwave podcast.
No. Implantable
Anti-balls,
pacemakers.
but pro...
So the idea of pacemakers wasn't new before 1956, but it could have but few could think of a practical way to insert one to a human body. Wilson Greatbach, an assistant professor of electrical engineering at the University of Buffalo, wasn't looking to create an artificial heartbeat. He just needed a resistor to build a heart rhythm recorder. The resistor was the wrong size, and when installed, made the circuit produce intermittent electrical impulses. It reminded him of a heartbeat, and he began experimenting, and eventually the implantable pacemaker was evolved. So, popsicles, stainless steel, that was an accident. Yeah. Reese's peanut butter cups, that was an accident. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Like I said, I would argue most inventions are accidents in some, because they
in some way, shape, or form, yeah.
Well, not. I mean, at least the ideas are accidents. Maybe putting it into practice, obviously, they can do it, because the pacemaker. I mean, it's not really an accident that they invented the pacemaker. Technically, it's the accident of fucking up that particular thing is where. Okay, I see.
So, fast forward to the 2000s, and I'm gonna change my background. Can anyone tell me what they're looking at?
Cells of some sort?
Yeah, they're cells. Anyone want to guess what kind of cells those are?
It's not muscle.
Those are cancer cells.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you a story
Cytoblasts.
about a pastry shop in Japan. And pastry shops in Japan had done some market research and found out that pastry shops that sell more than 100 varieties, or at least 100 varieties, actually sell twice as many total number of units compared to shops that only offered, say, 30 options. And that customers appreciated and were willing to pay for and more unwrapped pastries because of the perception of freshness. A wrapped pastry, a packaged pastry, has this, indescribable, unknown manufacturer kind of perception to it. So, that freshness. So they had a couple fundamental problems. You had to train your work staff to be able to identify 100 different pastries and know their PLU codes and all that stuff. They had to figure out pricing and irregularities and all that stuff. And they had to do it all without touching the pastries because they were unwrapped. So the owner of one of these pastry shops, who happened to be an electrical engineer, decided to create a software that used a backlit tray. So you collect your accoutrements on semi-translucent trays. You put it on the tray in the backlight, and then there's a camera that, through machine learning, actually learned how to identify up to 100 different pastries. This software actually is evolved to be so good at this point that if you create a new pastry that has never been on Earth before, show it to this machine, the second time it sees it, it will reliably identify it 60% of the time, which is just amazing for evolution.
Incredible for machine learning. That's unheard of, actually.
Accidentally awesome, cool, whatever. They figured out a real cool solution. Fast forward a couple of years, and this whole really creative solution to the pastry problem made it on the news in Japan. And a cancer researcher happened to notice that the pictures they were showing of the pastries on the backlight happened to look a lot like those. And apparently pastries look like cancer cells. And so now
delicious cancer.
This software is now used to diagnose and detect cancer cells in slides at 98% accuracy,
Jesus.
which is
Whoa.
way better than humans. Even if you have the world's best oncologist who never gets it wrong, then you only have one guy that can look on everyone's slides. And there's like 10,000 people a day in the world diagnosed with cancer. So the volume kind of outpaces the performance of the human model. So this technology is doing amazing things for early detection of cancer and reliable detection of cancer. So this is getting chalked up into the accidentally awesome category. I am not going to do the disservice to either the scientist or the pastry shop to pronounce it. And I actually can speak Japanese, but I can't read Japanese. So until I've heard the name said about 100 times, I can't pronounce it. So I'm not going to. So
Real smart Japanese people.
There's
it
my
sounds like
accidentally awesome.
what this told us about this show so far is we have a lot more respect for the Japanese than the Germans, apparently.
So there's an old joke that, in the perfect society, the Germans are the mechanics, the French
I've
are
seen
the
this
pastry
shirt.
chefs, the British are the police, and the Norwegians run the trains. Okay?
I've also
But
seen an edition where like the Italians are the
so-
lovers.
Right. But
Yeah,
in hell, the Germans are the police,
Yep.
the
Yeah,
British are the
fucks them all up.
mechanics, the Swedish are the chefs, and the French are in charge of the trains.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yep.
bad.
I saw this shirt at the trough.
I actually-
Gunnison.
so
it
having
involved
traveled-
the Italians too.
Yeah, having traveled where I've traveled, I have this working theory on the relationship of latitude to society. So in the upper latitudes, think Scandinavia, trains run on time. It's a very society first mentality. It's not me before society, it's society before me. Very federation, kind of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. The food is absolutely fucking terrible. There is absolutely no passion in the society. There's no outward romance. Yeah, and as you move, and the trains are absolutely on time, 100%. You come down into the middle latitudes, you're talking England, Germany, Poland. You've got a little bit better food, but let's be honest, not much. The
English
trains are
known
mostly
for
on
their
time.
food.
It's still mostly a public-driven, societal first kind of thing. Romance is not frowned upon, but it's definitely not what people think of when you think of Germany. It's not their German romance. And then you get down into the lower
yelling at each other.
latitudes. Think Spain, France, Italy, Greece, the Mediterranean as a whole. Trains don't run on a schedule, period. The food is fantastic. Crime is prevalent, and it is very much a romance-driven society last kind of framework, and it's definitely a relationship of latitude. Now, this is wholly my own perspective and very white, because
Yeah, obviously
having
it's a
not been to
European
Africa
based
and
on
Asia
it. Yeah.
so much, like, yeah.
So,
can't tell for sure, but-
in a recent book that Brandon can also speak to, that I've read, well,
It's
they
a really damn good book.
they phrase it in a different way, and it's a similar idea that it's basically people that have poor food, have really crappy food, trying to conquer people that have good food, and that's the entire world.
Yeah,
Son of a bitch, yeah,
except
that's-
for explain the Roman Empire then, because they've got great food.
Well, I think we're talking colonial era style.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
talking.
pretty much
enough.
most of the
We're
modern
talking
era.
from like medieval
Wait
food.
a second. They have curry? Do they have a flag? No, they don't. I'm claiming India.
That's pretty much how
All
it
right.
works, actually.
As much as I utterly regret having to introduce you again.
I'm looking
Talk
forward
to us about ass to mouth.
So
it's
there is apparently I'm also beginning with so. There is a common loach in East Asia, the Misgurnius Algucatus
What is a
that has a
loach?
unique form.
was gonna say, what the fuck's
It's a
a
type of
loach?
fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a type of fish. It's a long, skinny fish.
Okay.
It's
I
the
mean, we
kind
all
of
knew
fish
that
would
already.
swim
That was
up
for
your
our
urethra.
listeners.
Like,
Uh,
that's the
Yeah,
kind of
obvious.
class of fish we're in. Yeah. We're
Anyway.
close, though.
It has a unique form of intestinal breathing, where it will breathe through its anus. Scientists have recently learned that this evolutionary breathing mechanism isn't just limited to fish. Scientists from the Tokyo Medical and Dental University have demonstrated that mice, rats, and pigs can take oxygen delivered by a special liquid enema. This enema is oxygenated perfluorocarbons. Perfluorocarbons. Initial tests they ran with an intestinal gas ventilation, but the gas ventilation required mucosal abrasion, basically scrubbing out the intestine, which isn't something that's going to be possible in a clinical setting for reasons. So using
Get the old toothbrush up there. It'll be fine.
yeah.
I just want to
soft
let
bristles, of
everyone
course.
know that the day they try to tell me or teach me how to do this, I quit.
It's the new CPR.
I have
All
been-
kids
I've
have
been-
to learn it.
I have been puked on. I have been spit on. I've been peed on. I've gotten poop on me. Under no circumstance am I doing this. I have a
I
limit.
mean,
There's my line.
It's it would end up being just basically an enema to save someone's life, to get them perfusing again. You wouldn't do that?
They had a good run.
Oh,
All right. Well,
That's our medical
Yeah.
system.
If-
It's Charlie.
if it was going to save someone, I would do it. Yeah, so using this gas
Buy me dinner
ventilation
first.
where they basically scrubbed the intestine with the mouse under anesthesia in a extremely low oxygen condition, they were able to keep it alive for 50 minutes by perfusing oxygen up its
that
behind.
is a terrible
it's-
fucking way to
so-
die.
Oh yeah.
Is there
But-
always time
By that
for
point,
you're
lube?
probably
Is
knocked
that
out.
the-
Oh yeah, there's
So-
always time for
So out of
lube.
curiosity, is the theory behind this that since that's where energy is perfused in the intestines, is it that essentially you're just
So-
oxygenating the blood from the backside?
So,
Yep.
so the
That's
science
exactly it.
is that
Intestines.
there are a couple of medications that we anecdotally can inject via rectum. Valium is one of them to stop a seizure.
Yep.
The thought process is the vascular nature of the intestine makes it so it readily absorbs any substance that can be absorbed through mucosa. And
Yep.
apparently, these animals have the ability to do gas exchange with the atmospheric pressures in their rectums. Damn near killed them.
Yes.
It's still
But-
the preliminary.
And that's the thing. So with the O2PFC enema, they survived 60 minutes, at which they stopped the test, basically. And seemingly no downsides to having had this performed to the animals.
Other than, a trauma that
They're never going to be able to explain that to their families.
Yeah, they don't have
they're-
mouse therapists.
they're put
They
under
have mouse
for this.
rapists.
Th-
The rapists.
no. They're
Not
put
therapists.
under for the test. And yeah, this enema doesn't require the mucosal abrasion. It's easier to administer. Had a better survival outcome than just the gas. And I thought it was interesting because I thought about like how easy an enema would be to administer in the field for some type of trauma where the person's not breathing, not perfusing.
Yeah, I mean,
That would be a.
See,
Yeah,
could
I
this have
really do
saved
think that
people
eventually.
with COVID, with respiratory issues.
Exactly.
Like
That was
you
brought
may
up in
be
this.
like, you know, sad, angry face, whatever face, disgusted face. But
I mean, it could save lives. Absolutely.
See, the
I
only thing
really
I'm having
wonder.
in my mind is I keep going back to Charlie's accidental inventions. I want to know how this accidentally happened.
I do not think that this was accidental at all. I think that someone was looking at a loach going, that thing breathes through its ass. Too
How
bad
the hell
we
is it
can't.
breathing through its ass? Oh, just a giant tube. If you think of our systems, are just
you're
a long
ruining
tube.
Mueller's career.
But no, think
Charlie's
about
gonna start
this.
typing
So in a cardiac arrest situation, even with good CPR, somebody is not going to be perfusing very well.
As a
That's why
supplement?
typically that's when you get bagged and criked and ventilated and all that fun stuff. But in the field, if you've got a extended travel time, you could and be pushing around good oxygenated blood.
Not to completely discount what you just said. Not to, but I'm going to. In even high quality CPR situations, I am not perfusing the mesentery system. I'm not circulating the gut. I'm lucky to get to lungs, heart, brain, and kidneys. It would require CPR machines in addition to the fluorocarbon enema.
Yep. But I mean, they do now have portable.
I know.
Like they strap onto the backboard.
We have them.
So you
I
can
don't
always-
like them.
Oh,
So
God.
that's just another
many bad
tool in the
jokes.
bag to be able to use.
So you could do is hang them by their feet and just. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not a medical
Yeah,
professional. I'm just going off of what I. Never mind.
I'm not a doctor,
I
but I
found
play
this to
one
be
on
very
TWIL.
interesting. Right?
You know, I'm having a flashback to Brandon, my very first cardiac arrest. You were present for that. Yeah, the guy was a dead ringer for my dad in a trailer park on the ground in the gravel, and we knew he wasn't down very long because the cigarette in his mouth was still lit. I could not imagine a situation where I would be in a position where that is a reasonable intervention. God help me.
See,
God help me.
and again, not a medical professional in the slightest, but it seems like if you were in a long-term transport situation, like even if it gains 15 minutes, like theoretically,
Think about the person that has to receive that patient, and someone makes the decision, all right, well, we're pulling the plug, and then the plug has been pulled, as it were.
well,
You
yeah,
just
but
get hoses.
life is messy.
hospital.
Life
Life's
is messy.
It's all good.
We're human beings in particular are quite disgusting creatures if you look at our diet and why not? Fuck it.
Yeah.
If it works,
If it's stupid and it
I
works,
remember-
it's not stupid.
I want a medical tricorder, and you want to give me tubes up asses. This is going in opposite direction.
it's the transition
Okay.
to that,
How about
Charlie.
this?
It's
How
the
about this?
transition
How about
to
this?
that.
Think about this. You are not putting another hole in that person. You're just reusing one that's already there.
It's efficiency. It's called efficiency.
And
love this
first
topic.
do no harm. And first do no harm.
So that just means lube.
Just mental,
Always time for lube.
There's more mental scarring. It depends.
I mean,
Bite the
maybe
pillow,
maybe
sir.
they're
Do you know the
pre-lubed.
mental health of first responders is already at a critical level?
Yes, I do.
If I had to tell my 300 employees that I'm responsible for training,
See, it's all
that
about
this
massage.
is the new
It's a
hotness, we're doing
massage.
this. Do you know how many people I would have to train after that? 5. I would have 5 creepy motherfuckers that would want to stick around and see where this
And it's
goes.
and it's
the
their
other
dream
295
job, Charlie.
of them would
You're
say,
just
"Fuck this
providing
shit, I'm out."
dreams. You're providing dreams.
Nightmares. It's
I'm
providing
gonna laugh
nightmares.
in 10 years like this
Well,
is the standard. This is like
right?
they get rid of CPR and they're like, no, that was all wrong.
We're
They
doing
Make sure you
butt stuff.
copyright
that's-
this in the description.
I
of the
can't
video.
believe people
Oh,
used to do CPR.
I
Just stick shit in asses. It's fine.
I
It'll at
just
least
thought
wake
of
'em up.
another perfect example of why this would be a good thing. Okay? Somebody's choking. Okay? Tried the Heimlich. Heimlich isn't working.
Try the S-lick.
How are they going to get perfused? How are they going to get oxygenated blood around their system?
Charlie's like, fuck, I'm seeing it. I'm
They're
seeing
not.
it now.
So how easy would it be to just have that in the AED cabinet?
We're going in, boys.
How easy would it be to just
I hate
label
you.
the tube?
I hate
Just
you.
label the
Brandon.
tube.
I hate you.
Apply
So-
lube.
So
Insert into ass.
here's a medical
squeeze
joke for
bottle.
you. How do you tell the
Okay.
difference between an oral and a rectal thermometer?
Haste.
One tastes like shit.
Technically, one's red, one's blue. Never put the red one in your mouth, ever. But yeah,
the
it's
red one.
taste.
Well, see, this is
Isn't
again
the
me
red
being
one
an
supposed to be
ignorant.
strawberry flavored?
Ew. For some people, I'm sure it depends on their diet.
Woo!
Like
Okay.
that couldn't be any
For-
more.
The love of God.
But wait, I got one last question. No, this is serious. This is serious. Because intubation isn't that's a very important part of the medical process. Is
Being
like,
a paramedic, yes.
Yep.
so is that not the same basic concept, just from the other side?
Sticking a tube in a hole. Yeah.
Colton,
Even
I hate you.
easier.
I'm just saying. I'm
It's
serious.
It's like the King Airways that you could use as a basic. You just shove it down there and figure out which one actually goes in.
and
somehow
Charlie's gonna
firefighters
start
would
typing.
still put it in the wrong
which
hole.
tube?
We're all doomed.
I'm done with this. I'm done with this episode.
I broke Charlie. I
hate-
win.
I think this
I
is
win.
revenge for all of the times of him messing up your
Ah,
script.
so
Your
many
plan
times.
has finally come to fruition.
Hey Cody. Hey Cody. Where can we find you?
Well, right now
Ah.
I am in this wonderful place, but in a couple of weeks, that bastard right there will actually be joining me. Well, first I'll be joining him where he is for about 45 minutes, and then he will be joining me here for a week, and we will have much to
We
video.
shall
Yes.
do the Alaska thing.
So in other words, he's helping you pack. Okay.
Not really. You should, yeah, you should see how much I've actually done. You guys would be pretty impressed at this point. Well, like if I
nice.
had to wrap everything up in one day, right? If I had to, and if I had a full 24 hours, I
I'd burn
could.
it all. If I had 24 hours to like move, most of it would be burnt. Like I really don't need any of this shit.
I
That's
thought
just
I
my
was
opinion.
the pyro here. But anyway, to answer your question, I can be on Striving to Fail. It's actually a lot colder out here than I thought it was gonna be. So, yeah.
Aw.
Anyway,
Aw.
I've got my like shoulders and stuff all tucked in because the chair's still nice. But yeah, Brandon
Still Alaska.
or Colton or somebody, you know.
Colton, where can we find you?
The name is Colton Roper. You can find me on twitch.tv/seeker4761.
And that's the amount of enemas that guy's going to give out in his lifetime.
I was going to say that's the number of miles he's about to rack up.
Yeah,
whatever.
at least, if way more. See, I was gonna say something clever like
Not way
spelled
more.
with numbers because I can't spell with words. I don't know. stealing Charlie's thing a little bit, but I'll have to think about it. I'll think of a better tagline. I'm also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram under that same handle, Seeker4761. I'm also a contributor to thetechpirate.net. Check it out. Charlie, what about you? Where can we find you?
You can find me here every week. You can find me on Steam, YouTube, Twitch, all social media, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, all of that as
TikTok.
Milnor, spelled wrong, so I always get it right. You can also find me curating the Dark Horizon Twitch channel, which these four assholes still owe me an episode. So we're gonna get that done at some point soon. Hopefully before Cody is on another continent. Brandon, take us home.
So I am Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanus. You can find me on Twitch as Captain Dracanus, where I am going to start streaming every Tuesday and Thursday and some Saturdays. Because, streaming is actually fun. I actually already have a video up. It's a little over 2 hours long. You can skip about the first 20 minutes of it because it's me waiting for a damn download. But of Mass Effect
content.
Legendary Edition. And I am going to try and 100% that.
Ooh, tall order.
Yeah.
my friend.
Very tall order. I figure that'll be worth a lot of good content, and it's a series that I freaking love, and it deserves to be 100%ed, so that's my goal. So Tuesday and Thursday, that's going to be what I do, and then Saturdays are going to be random. But,
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Of course, also on thetechpirate.net, where I need to finalize my review for my skateboard, because I've now almost put 50 miles on it.
Oh, and I need to get you some really kind of cool video clips I have, too, for
Okay.
the edit of that, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, so
That will be fun. Drone footage.
we'll talk about that more later.
Sounds good. And so thanks to you all for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as on YouTube at This Week I'm Learning. For you social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter at ThisTWIL. If you'd like to contact us, you can always send an email to twil@thetechpirate.net. See you all next weekend.
Bye.
Or next week.
I'm waving
Bye-bye.
with my
Auf
face
Wiedersehen.
because my hands are keeping me warm.
So let's talk for another hour, Cody. You should just stay right there.
Yes,
just
let's
hang out
play
there.
Overwatch right where you are, Cody.
Right where you are.
Okay.
Anyway.
you need to take a picture of your setup in a minute.
Yeah,
but not
okay,
yet.
so take
Not
a
yet.
picture.
Do that real quick.
I
No,
was
no, not yet.
actually okay. Yeah, after the after
where's-
party.
This is the
True.
after
After
show.
the after party.
This is
After
what
this.
So-
the people want.
I'm really disappointed in you, Brandon. You didn't see my change to your outro. You didn't read it at least. Twill at
let's see.
thebuttpirate.net.
Yeah, I've
adults.
stuck with. I have a sticky note on my
Oh, you can't change
On
the
Windows.
sticky note.
because you were just changing it every freaking time, and I was just getting really tired of it. So I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just have it on a sticky note. So
And now
I
Charlie's
win.
getting a flight to Gunnison.
Fuck you and the hose you're sitting on.
hey, You've seen me breathing. I don't need one.
Yet.
You know what? If it would save my life,
I don't care. Yeah, do it.
I don't care.
Just
Do it.
remember
I would.
there's
At that point,
always
it'd be
time
like,
for
If
well,
it would save your life, Charlie, I would help you with it.
I would gladly do that every time, Charlie.
All right. Well, I'm glad I live here and you all live over there.
I bet your wife would do it for you.
I will be long dead before you get here. Thank you.
Charlie's joking.
Well-
we have the hose. Let's go.
You know, if Alexis does the first batch, I could hop on a flight and then get there in time to administer the second batch.
That's a bad state of affairs Charlie's in at this point. If he has to take that long.
Yeah.
Well, it's been
think-
a good run. This is my last episode. Bye.